One thing I've learned is that people in the tree industry are pretty inventive people. They get a lot of ideas. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if I made this or made that? And sometimes you get a great idea and you think, wow, I could make these things and retire off of that. And then you think, I need to get a patent. Well, I got news. A patent is probably not the thing you need. Stick around, I'll tell you why. Ow! If you haven't watched the first video I made about the Sokka, a lot of this isn't going to make sense. I put a link down in the thingy. Go watch that first. Come back here. I'll wait. Glad you're back. Don't get your hopes up. Sequels are never as good as the original. But I want to tell you the rest of the Sokka story. At the end of the last video, the situation was Weaver Leather has a patent for a knee ascender that they make called the Haas. And Richard Mumford has a patent pending for a knee ascender that he makes called the Sokka. Well, Weaver decided to push Richard out of business completely and sue him over patent infringement, which is really debatable. We'll talk about that later. So Richard Mumford was getting buried in lawsuits, so much so that he stopped making the Sokka. He stopped making just about everything. And some of us thought for a while there he was going to disappear, which would be a terrible thing because he's a good innovator. And his little company, Climbing Innovations, puts out some really good stuff. So I made that video, and I thought maybe somebody will watch it. They did. Thousands of people watched it. Well, people started to get upset. A petition went around. Over 1,000 people signed it saying they were going to boycott Weaver until they released the Sokka and allowed Richard to keep building it. Social media went crazy. The forums went crazy talking about all this. And it was a big mess, and there was a lot of heat coming down on Weaver, and potentially a lot of income loss because of it. So Weaver responded publicly by saying nothing. It was weird. I mean, they went completely silent. They had an opportunity to turn this thing around and turn it into a major promotion for who they are as a company and that they support innovation. And instead, they went stone silent. Eventually, Richard Mumford did put out a statement, a very official, carefully worded statement that said, Weaver owns the patent for a knee ascender. I'm not going to make the Sokka anymore, and we have an agreement. So in other words, nothing just happened here. We're in the same situation we were before, but now we have an agreement that that is the situation. So nothing happened. Okay, great. But then something did happen. Smoke started coming out of the old chimney at the Richard Mumford candy factory. Somebody put his Oompa Loompas to work again because they started putting out new gear, started innovating again. Things started happening. We started seeing some results coming out of Climbing Innovations that we hadn't seen in months. We started seeing things like the wrist rocket ascender, cambium savers, cat rescue bags. All these cool little gadgets he'd been working on for a while started popping up again, and we could tell the Climbing Innovations was back on track. And then, boom, Sokka Mini. Nice, huh? So Sokka Mini dropped. How is that possible? I thought nothing happened. I thought there was an agreement and a patent and what? All right. I don't know what happened. I didn't even know how patents fully worked. But to explain the rest of this story, we kind of got to know how patents work. But I'm not qualified, so I'm sorry to do this to you. You're going to have to talk to my lawyer.
Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution of the United States of America gives Congress the power to enact laws related to patents, and I quote, Congress shall have power to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times inventors exclusive right to their discoveries. The United States Patent and Trademark Office, USPTO, is an agency of the U.S. Department of Commerce. The role of the USPTO is to grant patents for the protection of inventions and to register trademarks. What is granted is not the right to make, use, or sell, but the right to exclude others from making, using, and selling an invention in the United States for a period of about 20 years. Once a patent is issued, the person holding the patent will have no enforcement help from the USPTO.
Well, that was a complete waste. Sorry. So the bottom line is if you invent something new, you get a patent, right? Wrong. It's not that easy. You got 3 hurdles. First one is, it's got to be a physical thing. Can't just be an idea you have, or a cool thought, or hey, how about this? It's got to be something you physically did and made or combined or something. It's got to exist, right? Hurdle number 2. Almost every invention out there has taken everybody else's invention, glued it together, and then put your own little invention up on top of it. That's how innovation works. You cobble together what other people have done, and then you add your own little creative piece on it. That's number 2. It's got to have that creative piece that you did. You can't just put together other people's work. Okay, number 3. This is the last and the hardest hurdle. This new piece that you add on top has to be something truly new. It has to be innovative. It has to be big. Here's an example. All right, so let's say we got an invention out there called a baseball. It looks like this, and for fun, you hit it with a stick. Not bad. So, let's say I want to create a new invention and patent it. So, I change things a little bit. I build on what was already there, right? I invent this, and I call it a space ball. This is totally new, right? Well, no, you moron. All you did was take a baseball and paint it orange. That's not new. Besides, spaceball is a dumb name. It's like splitting the Air Force in half and calling it Space Force. It just doesn't work. Okay, so let's say I invented something actually new. A new invention nobody had ever had before. A weather switch, where I could change the seasons anytime I wanted to. So let's just pretend that this works, and I want to take out a patent on it, right? Now, you're just going to have to imagine it, okay? This is it's just a wooden thing. But pretend that this could change seasons. And I want to patent this thing. What could I patent on it? Well, I couldn't patent the lever. I mean, levers have been around for thousands of years. I couldn't patent the wooden handle. Wooden handles have been around also for thousands of years. Probably nothing there. Hey, could you guys shut the back door? I can feel the draft coming out. Yeah, the AC is leaking out all over. Leave that door shut. Sorry. All right, if I can't put a patent on the lever, and I can't put a patent on the handle, and really, I can't put a patent on the flux capacitor that powers this thing because those were invented back in the 1980s. So my point is, what can I patent? Of course, in order to patent this, I'd have to actually build something that really worked. I'd have to have some component of it that I'd added to it that was totally new, and it would have to be something more than just a cheap prop. It would have to do something. Guys, seriously, shut the door. No, it's cold. I can feel the air. I can feel the cold air coming out. Will you just shut the door, please? If you want to find out more about the flux capacitor, I actually put a link down below. You should click it. It's worth your time. So what I can ask for a patent for this invention is the little part that I added. In this case, it's called a solar rotation replicator, but that's not important. The important thing is, that's the new part. It's not the handle, it's not the lever, it's not anything else. My patent would only be for the new invention, the new thing I added. Okay, so what does all this mean? How do we apply all this random information here? When it comes down to it, Michael Frankhauser was given a patent for what he did because he took existing inventions from the rope walking system, he put those together into a package to sell, but he reconfigured the bungee to pass down through the supporting rope, SRT style, and go all the way down to the foot to give you that extra stretch. That's great. Richard Mumford did something similar. He created a stiff tether that didn't have any bungee going through it, and then he configured the bungee in a DDRT style, back up to the ascender and back down to the foot through straws on either side. Different, still based off of the same rope walking mechanisms that were there for decades. Michael Frankhauser got a patent on it. He started soon. Richard's patent is still pending. We don't know yet. So back to the question of how can there be a new SAKA out there then? And the answer is this. SAKA Mini. What this does is really go back to basics. It goes back to the basic rope walking system that we had before. But the difference is every component from the foot loop to the bungee is top-notch. It's easily adjustable, this is a whole different animal than the two that were patented. This doesn't even relate to the patent anymore. What happened was Richard innovated beyond the patent fight. Here's why this is important. So going back to the question that I posed at the very beginning, if you have an invention, should you patent it? If you're a small company or a one-man operation, and you come up with this idea, and it's, say, a $100,000 idea, my advice is take that idea, make it, and sell it, and get all the money you can out of it. And you say, whoa, 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 wait, then my investment's not protected. Somebody could steal my idea. And you're right. To get a patent the right way is about $25,000. Sure, you could spend $500 and go get it on your own, but I guarantee you, the lawyers that have studied for 8 years to know how to tear that patent apart are going to do it. And they're going to drive right over the top of you. And for you to defend that in court is going to cost you $2 to $5 million. Patents are kind of like nukes. If you're a large country with a whole bunch of nukes, you don't have to use them because everybody knows that you have them. You have the money and the manpower to back them. On the other hand, if you're a small country with only one nuke, you better not ever fire that one nuke. You cannot withstand a fight with a larger company. Larger companies have patents. They have these patents, and they have lawyers, and they have financial backing, so that if anybody does infringe on their patents, they can go after them. Here's how the little guy does it. You have a couple of choices. One, if you get $1 million idea, I recommend that you go find a big dog that'll let you crawl into their doghouse with them. Same thing that Jamie did with the Akimbo going to Rock Exotica. They have a pool of patents and lawyers and money backing that they can defend that patent with. And it's a great idea, and it'll do great. If you feel like that's not the path for you, teaming up with some large company, then great. Take your idea, build it, just like Gordon did with the Bulldog Bone. Take it, sell it, make some money off of it. That's fantastic. But you say people are going to copy it. They're going to steal my idea and they're going to make money off of it. Well, guess what? The other option is to innovate beyond the fight. If you're constantly coming out with a new version of this idea, by the time somebody starts manufacturing in China and starts shipping out your product cheaper than you can sell it, you're already 2 versions ahead. You've got the superior product, they've got the inferior product, and they will always be playing catch up. So your 2 options are either team up with a big dog or innovate beyond the fight. All right, now you know everything there is to know about patents. Now, get off YouTube. Go climb a tree. That's what it's all about. And as always, subscribe. Or don't. I don't care. Have a good day.
Just shut the door.